In the golden silence of Karima, where the desert winds sang their endless songs and the pyramids cast long shadows on the sand, stood a small, forgotten building. To many in the town, it was nothing more than a weathered structure of stone and clay, leaning against time itself. But inside, beyond its cracked doorway, lived something older than the desert. Shelves of manuscripts written in fading Nubian script, scrolls carried through centuries of dust and fire. Samir was their guardian. He had inherited the task from his father, and his father from another before him. In Karima, where most men took to farming or trading, Samir carried a quieter burden, protecting voices that had long turned to dust. He rose each morning with the call to prayer, dusted the fragile pages with careful hands, and whispered to the manuscripts as if they could hear him. To him, they were not mere words. They were the heartbeat of Nubia, the breath of ancestors who had refused to be swallowed by time. But the world beyond Karima had grown hungrier. Rumors spread of priceless manuscripts hidden in the desert's edge, words that could fetch fortunes in faraway cities. Men with greed in their eyes came searching. They saw only wealth, not heritage. They saw paper, not memory. The first time Samir overheard their plan in the marketplace, his chest tightened. Looters were coming. Armed men, ruthless, eager to strip the library bare. That night, he could not sleep. He sat among the scrolls by lantern light, tracing the fading ink with trembling fingers. His father's voice echoed in his mind. These are not ours to sell. They are ours to guard, even if it costs everything. The cost, Samir feared, was now knocking at his door. Help came from an unexpected place. The historian arrived in Karima with sand in his beard and fire in his eyes. He was a wanderer, once cast out by universities for challenging their stories. He walked into the library at dusk, saw the rows of manuscripts, and fell silent. When he finally spoke, his words carried reverence. This is the last library of the desert. If they take it, it will never return. Samir studied him. Distrustful at first, outsiders always came with hungry hands. But this man carried no greed, only sorrow and knowledge that weighed like chains. He offered not to buy, not to steal, but to protect. "Let me help," he said. "We can move them. We can hide them where no looter will find them." And so, the unlikely alliance was born. The quiet librarian and the rogue historian, bound by ink and dust. The nights that followed were filled with whispers and hurried hands. Manuscripts were wrapped in cloth, scrolls tucked into reed baskets. By day, Samir opened the library as usual, calm as still water. By night, he and the historian carried bundles through the narrow alleys of Karima, loading them onto donkeys that trod silently across the sand. Each journey was a prayer, each step a gamble. The desert became their accomplice, hiding their tracks in waves of shifting dust. But the looters were relentless. By the time they reached Karima, suspicion already hung heavy. Men with guns combed the streets, demanding answers, offering coins that glinted like poisoned bait. Some in the town whispered betrayal, tempted by the riches promised. Samir felt eyes watching him wherever he walked. One night, as the moon bled across the horizon, the looters came closer. Samir and the historian were bent over the last chest of manuscripts when shouts erupted outside. Boots struck against stone. The men had found them. Fear surged through Samir like fire. His hands trembled over the manuscripts, torn between saving them and saving himself. But the historian gripped his arm. "We carry history, not fear," he whispered. Together they heaved the chest, muscles burning, hearts pounding. They slipped into the alley as torches flared, as voices thundered. The desert opened before them like a great, silent shield. That night stretched into eternity. Every sound was danger, every shadow a pursuer. Yet they did not stop. They carried Nubia's voice across the dunes, through hunger, through thirst, until their bodies ached like broken vessels. When dawn finally touched the horizon, they buried the last chest in a hidden cave where the desert winds carved hollows no map had ever named. Samir fell to his knees. His chest heaved, his eyes filled with tears that burned hotter than the sun. Around him lay silence, but within him lived triumph. The looters might ransack the town, they might strip the library bare, but they would never find the heart of it. The desert itself now guarded the words.